Hello, my name is Bellot. Welcome to this video presentation. In this video presentation, I'll be looking at the gluten connection with non-coealic gluten sensitivity. What is non-coealic gluten sensitivity? Well, this is a condition where a person after ingesting gluten experiences a reaction. So that reaction could be abdominal pain, it could be cramping, it could be bloating, it could be diarrhea, it could be constipation. The reaction may be experienced, say, 1 hour after, or it could be days later before the person experienced any reaction. Now, the symptoms with non-coealic gluten sensitivity and celiac disease, there are some similarities. The difference is that the celiac will experience more symptoms, and also they won't have the same antibodies, and they won't have the same level of intestinal damage as a celiac person. Now, what is gluten? Gluten is the gliadin, it's a protein found in wheat, barley, and rye. And if you look at the kernel of a wheat seed, for example, the gluten is always found in the endosperm. Now, what's the big deal about gluten? Because after all, most of us has had bread all of our life. It's the staff of life and it's our daily bread. But the problem with the wheat is that since the 1960s, they've been hybridized. So the yield have been increased tenfold. And as well as increasing the yield, the purpose was for that it should be resistant to pests and to drought and to fungus and other diseases. But what that has done, it's made the protein foreign to our bodies, and so our body doesn't recognize the protein anymore. And so when we eat this, it's virtually indigestible. And so we'll experience some of the symptoms which I mentioned earlier. And what that does also, it creates an inflammatory reaction. And so with that, there's a lot of autoimmune conditions. What it does also, it damages the microvilli. The microvilli is in our small intestine. It's the area where we absorb our nutrient. And if that is damaged, then our health is going to be compromised because the nutrient is not going to be absorbed. We're going to have gaps in the tight junction, so we're going to have large particles of food leak into the bloodstream, as well as toxin, parasites, viruses. When we consider that 70% of our immune system is in the gut, this is going to set us up for all sorts of autoimmune conditions. Now, why should we be even concerned about non-gluten sensitivity, non-coealic gluten sensitivity? Well, there are a lot of extra intestinal symptoms that we could experience. For example, osteoporosis, leg and arm numbness, muscle cramp, fatigue, migraine, bone and joint pain, skin issues. So there's a lot of other extra intestinal symptoms that we may be experiencing, but we're not associated with wheat. And if this continues, that it could lead us up for the more serious condition of celiac disease. Now, how do we know if we've got this condition? Because at least 5 to 13% of the population have this condition. And for 80,000 researchers said that 80,000 persons have not been diagnosed. Now, currently, there's no blood tests available or biomarkers for this condition. So what has to be done? The test has to be taken to rule out celiac, and then also test taken to rule out wheat allergy. Once that's done, if it's identified that you don't have celiac disease or you don't have a wheat allergy, you could go on an elimination diet to take gluten out of your diet and to see how you feel. Once you're feeling better, try reintroducing the gluten back into the diet and to see if there's a difference. If you're experiencing the symptoms again, then you know that you're non-coealic gluten sensitive. So what you would have to do is, continue on a permanent elimination diet. You would have to replace the gluten with gluten-free grains such as teff, rice, quinoa, amaranth, millet, These are grains that are all gluten-free that can be used instead. As well, go on a plant-based diet. Plant-based diets tend to be nutrient-dense. They have the phytochemicals, they have the vitamins, then they have the minerals, things that are healthy for our bodies. Unfortunately, what a lot of people do when they go gluten-free, they still resort to the processed gluten-free food. They're still processed. They're still devoid of fiber, phytonutrients, vitamins, and mineral. So your best bet is to be on a plant-based diet. I trust that you enjoyed watching this video. Whatsoever you eat, whatsoever you drink, do all to the glory of God. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel by clicking the subscribe button below.